I'm Alder Jones, and I'm jonesing for some discussions with the coolest cat on the internet who has more movies than Bruce Lee has moves, kids. I'm talking about Dell on movies. Let's see if I can get him in here. Here we are.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine now, Dell.
Okay, cool,
Awesome.
cool.
I was sweating a little bit there. I'm like, oh man, audio troubles, no.
Yeah, I think you gotta add me in first before you can hear
Ah,
me. I think that's what it is.
I haven't done one of these live streams in about 4 months, so if I haven't done it within a few weeks, I forget everything. So it's just how
No worries.
how I operate. Cool. So I appreciate you being here, man. I really do. That's super awesome.
I
Uh,
appreciate you asking.
yeah. So we're just gonna crack right into it. I know there's a couple. I think we're competing with another stream. I won't mention any names in case people run off. So I'll just get cracking if you don't mind terribly.
No, go for it.
All right, cool. I got my handy dandy pen and paper notebook because I'm old.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Should I be worried?
No, 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 no. No, these are all. I got some softballs. They're all softballs.
Okay.
So I know I see the Superman right there, so I got to ask: are you a DC fan or a Marvel fan, and why?
Okay. I like both. That's the cop out answer. I like both.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Right. But if I had to lean one way or the other, I'd lean to Marvel. And it really comes down to their characters are more relatable for me. They're less godlike on the whole. Now that said, my favorite hero in the bunch is Batman, and that's probably because he's less godlike. He's not Superman,
Right. Yeah.
right? Even
He
though
just
I
has
do
money and gadgets.
right, I do like Superman. So don't get me wrong there. But
Okay.
on a whole, I related to Spider-Man much more. Going through puberty, especially at the time when I got into him, I was going through my teenage years and things like, and even somebody like Wolverine, he's got all these fantastic powers, but he's kind of a troubled person. So that's why I kind of lean towards
Okay.
Marvel. Their characters a little more relatable for me.
A little bit more humanity to him.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm a big comic book fan myself. I used to collect way back in the day, and I have one comic now, like literally one issue.
You
And
better than me. I used to collect also, but yeah, I don't have any now. So so you're doing better than me.
okay. All right. Cool, man. Cool. All right. We're just going to move along, just
Yeah.
get it cracking. We all got lives, right? So I believe I've been asking everybody. I hit a live stream. I asked the question, how large is your collection and what got you started?
All right. So as far as the number goes, I give a couple different numbers, and I watched your stream with Celeste a couple times actually when you did it,
Appreciate
and then
that.
then I rewatched it a couple days ago. Um, and it's hard to say and pin down an exact number, so I do it two ways. The way I keep track, one is what I call a purchase, and a purchase would be like this would be a purchase. Um,
Okay.
or just any individual movie is a purchase if I buy it that way. And doing that, and it's a little over 1,800 individual things that I actually bought. I guess barcodes you would be a better way to explain that. But
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, but when I break it out into actual how many movies, which I do on Letterboxd, and I've got another app that does that, it's about 2,300 actual movies. And
That's not small change.
oh yeah, it's a little unwieldy at times. As far as what got me into collecting, I've always been a movie lover, but as far as collecting movies, it really happened pretty much by osmosis. I used to work at Blockbuster, and
Okay.
yeah, I worked there. Remember, or if you're familiar, they started running sales on DVDs after DVD after they switched over to DVDs. Started running sales on used DVDs, previously viewed, and it'd
I
be
remember
three for
those days.
yeah, it'd be 3 for 20, sometimes four
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
20, whatever the case may be. So, a few bucks out of each paycheck went to DVDs because, like, man, I want that movie, and then I want that movie, and before you know it, I had 100 and some odd movies, and then blink again, and I've got two, three, 400, and it's been the same ever since. It's been
Yeah.
rolling ever since.
The sickness and addiction grows, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Doesn't slow down.
Awesome. Awesome. I always like to know why people collect or what got them, but working at Blockbuster, I mean, that's like That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and it was a good time. So, and I hated this. They didn't pay much, so it
Wait,
wasn't going to
right?
be like
Yeah,
a career thing. But I love movies and I love talking to people about movies, and you know, in some small way that led me to this conversation even today.
right. Yeah, yeah. I was talking to movies with the guy in Best Buy yesterday for like 10 minutes. No line behind me, thank God. But we
Uh,
were talking about the Academy Award winners and stuff, and we just went off.
yeah.
So, good stuff. All right, I'm going to hit you up with another question. Your favorite genre of film?
Um, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, right.
Uh, um, um, I really love horror. I really love action. I mean, if I would probably say action would be my favorite genre because that's it gives me the biggest umbrella. Because then in that I can include martial arts, which is another love of mine, and I can include superhero movies, which is a big love of mine also. And then you get a lot of the sci-fi that I like also. So I would probably say action if we just wanted to kind of cram everything under the largest umbrella we can
Okay,
find.
yeah, awesome, awesome. Love that, love that. I'm a big horror junkie, so
Yeah, I love, like I said, I love horror too. So that's what I grew up on. It was action and horror. So,
yeah, nice. Okay, so this next one's it's going to be a toughie. I don't know. uh, Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan?
oh, Bruce. I love
Okay,
Jackie, but Bruce, I mean, I don't know
yeah.
if you saw the shirt here.
Oh, I see the shirt now. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I look, Jackie Chan is amazing. I mean, I think he and Tom Cruise just have a death wish, but doing
Right?
all the
No
stunts.
joke.
Yeah, but I mean, Bruce is what I grew up, who I grew up on. I mean, Enter the Dragon was really like my first theater experience that I really
Oh
remember.
wow,
Yeah.
nice, nice. I'm just going to do slap a quick comment up here. That's Tony from Basement Blues saying hello.
What's up,
What's up,
Tony?
sir? Glad you're in here. A couple other
Oh yeah.
people in here. So yeah, yeah. I figured you're going to go with Bruce Lee,
Oh,
and I hate to say it, I have not watched a lot of Bruce Lee films.
there are only five main ones, so
Okay,
there's not a lot to catch up on. There's only five main ones, you know, from when he was an adult and actually the Bruce Lee. So I'm not counting stuff as a kid because he was a child actor and did a lot of stuff in China, and of course he did the Green Hornet in the U.S. But yeah, there's only five main films that make up his martial arts canon.
okay. I have like a Region 3 like box set I found at a pawn shop in California
Okay.
for some small amount of money. I still haven't watched them yet, but I need to get on that. It's a blind spot of mine. Martial art films in general, really.
Okay.
So, but I'll report
That's as
back.
good a place as any to start.
Right. All right. We got Darvin here. Hello, Darvin. Thank you
What's
for
going on,
joining
Darvin?
us. Nice. All right, we're gonna just keep cracking. I like to ask this question too, and that is, what is the first film that you purchased? It doesn't matter what format. You can go with VHS, DVD, Laserdisc, whatever it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because I mean, I first film I purchased was well before I considered myself a collector, and it would probably be something in the early '90s. And um, was it? Was it? No, it wasn't The Lion King. It might actually, yeah, no, it wasn't The Lion King. But it was something in the early '90s. There's no way I can tell you that. I have
Okay,
no clue. Yeah, that thing is long gone.
that's okay. That's all right. How about the first 4K? That's a little bit more recent.
I do know that. I do know that the first 4K is give me a sec here. The first 4K is actually this Black Panther Steelbook.
Oh, man,
Uh,
that thing's beautiful. My
yeah,
gosh.
it is a nice one, and I actually got it before I had a 4K TV or a
Nice.
4K player, so I couldn't even watch it. But it did have a Blu-ray in there, so I was like, well, I'll just watch the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
Never,
yeah.
I've,
That was the beautiful thing about it. Now it's like it's just a 4K in there. So for the most part, when you purchase a 4K movie, so it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, and I've never actually watched the Blu-ray in here because shortly after I did get a 4K. So,
Right. I think
but
the
yeah, I
first
do know
movie
that
I
was first one.
sorry. Tony says that's pretty great. He was buying 4K before he had a TV.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm guessing he
4K
means a 4K
TV.
TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
It took me a second. I'm like, didn't even have a TV? That's crazy, man. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I got a 4K TV for my first one was last year. I
Mhm.
worked at a liquidation warehouse and I got it for $100. So, and it's
$100.
still,
Wow.
yeah, it's still putting it through the paces too. So it's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah. No, hey, you can't complain for $100.
Yeah. I know. And beating people off with a stick on that deal. I'll tell you that. It was
Yeah.
crazy. All right. So, what do you think is the best? Sorry, next question. What do you
Mhm.
think is the best boutique label right now in the physical media space?
I'd probably say I'd probably say Arrow, though I'm really also close to Criterion. They're neck and neck for me personally.
Yeah.
Arrow puts out a lot of type of the movies that I grew up with, even, and they have some of the stuff that's not so great, but they're not Vinegar Syndrome completely going down the trash bin with a lot of their stuff, and
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And honestly, I mean, there's a lot of Vinegar Syndrome movies I like. I just don't have any of theirs. I'm not big into boutique labels. As far as I gotta collect this boutique label or that label, and it says I just look for the movies I like, and if they happen to be whatever the label is, then fine.
And that's what it is. Well, I'll tell you, Vinegar Syndrome is like their prices are just like skyrocketed
I've
crazy.
heard, yeah.
I was looking. I have a used record store. I have a few used bookstores, record stores, and I actually have a video store within a few miles of me. And
Okay.
they're I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one I think Vinegar Syndrome put that out. I
The
think
one that just came out, I
the
think
one
it
that
is.
just came on
Yeah,
4K.
I think so.
And at the used record store, they want $55 for it.
Wow, at the user, wow.
Yeah, well, I mean it's new, but like I can go to
Yeah,
Best
I
Buy and pick
understand.
it
I
up for
understand. Yeah,
$28.
right.
So, and I have that movie so many times over. I don't need to make a purchase this
Yeah.
soon again, right?
Now, let me pose a question to you real quick then.
Sure.
So, for a movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, does it really need to be 4K? That's a movie is so gritty, so grimy, and shot in such a way that it's not supposed to be a pretty movie. Does it really need to be 4K?
Right. Yeah. Like that's a great question, Dale. And honestly, I don't know the ins and outs of like HDR and all the kind of things that they do with that and the color grading and I don't know the ins and outs of it.
Mhm.
So would I like to see it look the prettiest it's ever looked? Of course I would. But there is something to say for that kind of disheveled, grainy film quality to it, which
Mhm.
makes it a little bit more grotesque, I think, especially to a new viewer of the film.
Right, right. It definitely adds to the atmosphere, and
Exactly. Yeah.
it's one of those things. Like I've got it's actually behind the camera back there, but I've got the that big box set that Screen put out for the Friday the 13th movies,
Yes.
and then shortly after, they started putting out the 4Ks, and I didn't buy any of those because I'm like, I don't need Friday the 13th to look that pretty.
Yeah.
I don't need it that way. So, but yeah, that's the way I feel about some certain
No,
movies, especially
I get
horror.
that. Like, so the first 4K I bought was Jaws, right? Because
Uh huh.
that movie scared the crap out of me as a kid. It's always kind of
Same.
scared the crap out of
Yeah.
me.
Same. Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like and it was the first one I watched and I was like, oh, okay, so this is what 4K is about because I was seeing things in that film that I'd watched 100 times that I'd
Mhm.
never seen before.
Yes, you do get that. You do get that with
So
4K. Yeah.
so that quality aspect to the image is like oh my gosh. And so
Mm,
but I don't need to spend $30 to $50 on Texas Chainsaw right
exactly.
now.
Yeah.
I got that so many times over and I've seen it so much, it's kind of lost a bit of its luster. All right, so I'm gonna get cracking on with the next one.
Okay.
What's your favorite subgenre since we talked about your genre?
You still there? You froze up a
Oh,
little bit.
yeah, sorry. I
Okay.
did stop talking for a second. I'm sorry. What is your favorite subgenre?
Um, if we subgenre, I guess we might call will we call superheroes a subgenre?
What is it?
Will we call superhero movies a subgenre?
Uh, I
or
don't know. Personally,
is
I
it a
think that's a
genre? Is it
genre
a
in and of
genre?
itself.
I don't know. Yeah, I would say if we're just sticking with something like horror, I mean slasher would be my favorite subgenre of
Okay.
horror. Um, I love a good slasher movie.
Yeah, there's something to be said for those things.
Yeah,
Generally, they're pretty terrible. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but that's the charm of some of these horror films, right? Dale, don't get
Right.
me started on horror films, man. We'll be here for 3 days. Seriously, it'll be bad. Uh, okay, so here's a random question. I actually asked the next question already, so I'm going to skip that. Favorite Thanksgiving movie because there's so many of them.
Favorite Thanksgiving movie? Uh, I haven't seen a lot of Thanksgiving movies, which is the weird part, I guess. I haven't. I just haven't. I don't know. Maybe you should name some. I might actually see it. And one I know
Oh,
everybody
geez.
says is Planes, Trains, and
Right.
Automobiles.
Yeah,
I've
that'd
never
be my
seen it.
first
I've
choice.
actually never seen that movie,
You have?
which
Oh,
is
it's
strange.
it's I love it personally. Like John Candy is like a Canadian national treasure. Not that I'm Canadian, but still,
Yeah.
and Steve Martin. Steve Martin. I was like, almost said Martin Short. I don't know what's going on with me here. I'm losing
I
my
tell
mind
you,
a little bit.
I tell you what. While we're talking, I'm looking up some Thanksgiving
All
movies, and
right,
I'll
all
come
right,
back to that one.
all right. All right, I'll hit you. Like we've blown through these questions, right? I was going to give us an hour time limit, and
Okay.
we're at the last question, so this might be short and sweet. Might you know? So I was initially going to ask, is physical media dead? Right? Because everyone in the community talks about it. And Tim did this great video earlier. Tim Talks Talkies. Check him out if you haven't, guys. I know Dale, you know who I'm talking about.
Hmm.
And he had this great he did a great video on it talking about is it dead, is it not dead. So I changed the question. And this is a question, where do you think physical media will be in 10 years time from now?
Okay. In 10 years' time, I think it'll kind of keep us going. We're kind of going to keep going further down the road that we're on, at least to my vision, and just becoming more and more niche. And so boutique labels is really where it's going to be for at least for that time frame. Uh, they're slowly disappearing from stores. Even
Yeah.
I mean, the stores that do keep them, like Walmart, it's mostly DVD because that's what sells.
Right.
So I think it's just going to keep going down that road. We'll get some new labels popping up and the older labels expanding and maybe some merging and things of that nature in 10 years time. But then 20 years time, maybe we get that resurgence that vinyl's going through, or
Right.
other forms of media go through.
Yeah, I'm hoping that comes quicker than 20
Yeah.
years. I'm gonna be pretty old by then, so I'm not gonna be too mobile, I think.
Yeah, by that time, me neither. So I totally understand.
Uh, okay, so we blasted through his questions in less than 20 minutes, which
Oh, wow.
yeah, not too shabby, man.
Maybe, maybe I'm not as long-winded as I thought I was.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Uh, so the next part I do is word association, and
Okay.
I'm going to say a phrase, or I'm going to ask a question, and basically the first thing that pops to your mind. So some of it's a little bit of what we did recently or previously, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
No pressure on these either. It's not like there's a time
Before
limit.
you jump in, I will go back
Sure.
to Thanksgiving movies because I'm scrolling through a list, and
Okay.
some of these that I'm looking at are kind of questionable. Like they have Knives Out as a Thanksgiving movie, and
Interesting.
Soul Food. But I would say the first one I came across, I don't know why I didn't think of it, but Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. So I
Oh
mean,
yeah, what a great animated classic right there.
yes, absolutely.
Do love my Charlie Brown shows. That's some fun stuff. Charles Schwartz. There we go. I can't talk now. Anytime I do a video, man, I'm flubbing over the words. It's terrible. All right. So you ready? Ready for some word association?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. 88 films.
Martial arts.
Okay, cool. Scream Factory / Shout Factory.
Horror.
All right, cool.
I,
Nice segue into the next one. Best horror film.
Scream original.
There you go. There you go. Nice. Favorite superhero.
Batman.
There we go. Favorite villain.
Killmonger.
All right, gotta read up on him.
He was the villain in the first Black Panther movie.
Okay, all right. I gotta rewatch that then, because it's been a day. All right, Criterion.
Cinema. Let's say that.
Nice. All right. I'm telling you, man, I cannot talk. I can drink some water. Something's going on. Who best played Superman?
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I had a feeling that was going to be the answer.
Hey, I'm an old guy. I mean,
yeah.
It's got to be Christopher Reeve.
Nice. Jordan Peele.
There are a lot of words rumbling around here. I would say ambitious storyteller.
I agree 100% with that. RoboCop.
Oh, amazing. That's
yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah,
all right.
RoboCop.
So you can't say me and you can't say you.
Okay.
This last one. All right. Just want to preface that. Favorite fellow YouTuber.
Favorite fellow YouTuber.
Yeah.
You're trying to get me in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah. No, it's all fun and games, man. You know, you can not answer. It's cool. You can plead the fifth.
No. Favorite fellow YouTuber. I'd probably say, yeah. There's a couple answers. I'd probably say Nick, Movie AV Impulse, and that wouldn't have been the answer a week ago.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, I don't know if you. Well, you would actually. You were. You did. I think you were in the chat that day. We did a stream together last Saturday,
and with the Movie Swap, right?
Yeah, with Movie Swap, and we we've been chatting back and forth for a while now, and we knew we had some similarities in common. But I do love his channel, and he's got some great content and great ideas for new content upcoming. So that's one part of it, and the other part of it is that we just hit it off, and talking to him, it was like talking to my brother almost, and it was just a natural. We had a natural synergy, and I honestly probably could have kept that stream going another couple hours, but
nice.
We had to cut it off.
No. If I could dig into that a little bit.
Yeah.
He's having an episode come up about addiction, right?
Yes, he said he was having one about addiction coming up.
Yeah, I'm extremely interested in that conversation that he's going to have with the community.
Yes.
Because I feel he hit on some points. I thought
he did. He did, and when you use that word addiction, people get taken aback, and they don't want to admit that what the thing that they're into could be an addiction either. So right. Yeah, so the community, it's going to be some interesting reactions.
I think it's great. I think it's great that he's even approaching that topic because from a physical media collector standpoint, like when does it stop being a collection and become a hoard?
Yeah, that's true.
Or when do you kind of reel it back financially as well? Because I mean, their movies aren't cheap, so
no.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I want to see what the reaction is. And like I said it when I was talking to him. There's not been a time in my life when I wasn't collecting something.
Yeah, me too.
Not since I was old enough to buy something. There was always something I was collecting, and I recognize that's a compulsion within me, as I have to be collecting something, and so it is truly an addiction. And then on top of that, I do have not personal experience with me personally, but I do have family members that have dealt with the other types of addiction that we more commonly talk about with drugs and alcohol and things like that,
or not commonly talk about, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of that too, and So I'm interested in his thoughts on that. It sounds like it's going to be a really good episode, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So real quick, just going to throw this comment up. R&D Studios here says hello all. So hello.
How you doing?
Cool. You know, that's all the questions I had, man. This is going to be super
Oh,
quick.
okay.
Yeah. Would you like to ask me anything, or you got some stuff to say?
Well, sure. I can always ask questions. So I want to turn that first question back to you as far as the collection number and the reason why you got into collecting.
Okay, cool. So my collection stands at just under 1,800, and I consider like per title, like a season to me is one, you know, so
Okay.
that kind of thing. What got me into movie collecting? So, I mean, like as a kid, right? We watch movies with our parents or whatever, and I don't know, I just always fell in love with it. And when was a young teenager, I wanted to become a makeup artist. And then I realized that took a lot of skill that I did not have. Uh, so I lived in California. This was years and years ago, probably 20 now at this point. And I went to a junior college, and I went to film classes, and I met a bunch of interesting people, and we made some student films. And I just was
Mhm.
like, this is what I want to do. And we did to a degree, and then there was hiatus. And I like to write scripts too, so there's that as well. And I don't know, I love escapism.
Mhm.
Right, real, like that's another thing, right, that I don't think a lot of people talk about, is that we put on these movies, or we buy video games, or we whatever we do, right, and it's a form of escapism. So I just kind of enjoy that aspect of being able to sit down for an hour and a half to whatever, 4 hours, and just block out this time and just be in the moment of whatever I'm collecting, enjoying, watching,
Right.
reading, whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's just, I think that's where that in just the last couple of years the collection has just gone off the rails, really. It's like and watching the blue tubers, you get, I wouldn't say envious, but you're like, oh, that looks good, oh, I gotta watch this, oh, that,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
the piles keep piling up, and now my watch list is like 200 movies, and
Yeah. Oh,
so
I get it. I get it. I try not to get FOMO,
right.
because it's bad for your wallet.
Right, screams.
So, and I
Yeah.
think I do okay. I do okay with that. And my wife helps me with that. I can't buy but so much.
There you go. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Nice.
yeah. So let's going into so as far as your collection goes. Well, actually, you know what? More interesting, the writing of the scripts. Do you write mainly horror since you're a horror fan, or do you just?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I have one that's, I started out as like this drama piece, and it ended up with elements of horrific crap in there,
Okay.
and I'm like, I don't know. I just, something, I've watched horror for so long. One, I'm very desensitized to it.
Mhm.
So, I'm a little bit of a, what's the word? I like dark humor, and I like somewhat. I always joke, any kind of depressing film I call a Russian comedy, right? So it's just because I don't know. I gravitate towards the strange and unusual and kind of depressing dark films. And the more messed up, the better for me. I can watch all sorts of horrible things, and I mean, that probably stems from watching shockumentaries at a pretty young age. I don't know if you're familiar with any of those.
I used to watch Faces of Death,
Okay, yeah.
things like
So,
that. You got a favorite dark comedy?
oh man, so many. Uh, gosh, ooh, that's a good one. I, probably. Oh man, you make me rack my brain now, which is, I'm gonna fall over dead here in a second. I'd probably say Death to Smoochie.
I've heard about it. I know of it. I just never watched it. That's the Robin. Is Robin Williams in that one?
Yeah, yeah. Robin
Yeah.
Williams, Edward Norton. It's really dark. It's comedic, but it's like kind of, it's messed up. I'm trying to think. Like, I guess, yeah. You know what? It is a dark comedy. What about Bob?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would personally consider that a dark comedy. So yeah, that's just a few examples of my strange taste.
Yeah. We all have our thing. That's for
Right?
sure.
Yeah, yeah. 100% on that.
I'm a big fan of Heather's, though it's been a long time since I've watched it.
Oh man, yeah, I haven't seen that in forever. Oh my gosh.
That's a dark comedy, at least
It
as
is,
far as
yeah.
to my. So excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
I'm not
You
got
need,
dried out all of a sudden here.
yeah. If you need to get a glass of water, man, I'll hold the fort.
All right. Well, actually, yeah. Let's do that. Let me go grab
right.
something to drink here real quick.
All right. I'm not gonna.
I was
move around
smart
a bunch.
actually. I actually had it right here. Didn't even remember.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got one right over there, but yeah. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, we we got one person here. I'm assuming it's Darvin's in here. So I appreciate everyone coming by for this quick quick live stream. I appreciate it. It's good.
Yeah. Look, even if there's nobody here, it's always good talking movies with somebody. So
yeah, I understand like when there's a lot of people in the chat and it's just flying by, right? That has to be hard to keep up. So in a way, I feel a little blessed because there's not, which is weird to say. It's kind of like two steps back there, but
So even on Movie Swap, I've gotten into the 20s, and it's like, okay, what now? It gets kind of hard to keep up. It gets backed up. So I could imagine, what it's like on someone like Ken's channel. I pop into his stream and there's 200 some odd people there,
right? Yeah.
Or in Sue, and they're like 20-30 minutes behind the chat when they're going through it. So yeah, it's got to be tough to keep up with.
Yeah, and then you got to get moderators. It's just it's a lot, and I mean that's not a bad place to be, obviously, right?
Right, so, right. Not a bad place to be at all.
Yeah, I still have to watch a Movie Swap with the monkey. I literally walked in like the last 2 minutes of that thing.
So. Right. It was overall it was better than it ended. So
okay, all right. Because I was like, I got in there and I'm like, oh man, this guy he looked like he was in a ton of pain.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's unpleasant.
Yeah, I give him credit for sticking it out, and unfortunately, the end was kind of abrupt. But yeah, on the whole, the episode is better than it ended.
Yeah.
So I'd say still check it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And I hate going in late, and if I have to rewatch something, I like to start and I like to just focus in and watch the whole thing. I don't care if it's like 40 minutes or 2 hours, right?
Right.
Because just the conversations are neat, and we're all movie lovers here, right? We're all discussing things we love.
Right. So. Right. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. And the only other thing is, sometimes there's so many streams going on and you want to kind of support everybody. So it's like you're popping in here and popping in there and saying, hey.
Right.
And
yeah.
That gets to be a bit much. Or if you're like me, you subscribe to so many people and you just forget to watch somebody for a while and kind of scroll through.
It happens. Right? We only have so much time
exactly
in the month in our lives.
Right.
So
and some of that time I want to still watch movies too. So.
Right, exactly. I probably spent 6-7 hours last week watching live streams, and I'm like, I try and watch 1 to 3 movies a day.
Okay.
Which is probably too much when I think about it, right?
Mm-hmm. So last year I made it a goal last year to average out a movie a day for the year. And with my schedule, that's pushing it to do it. I made it, and I'm like skinning my teeth on 365 days. I watched 365 movies, and in December I had to watch, more than one a day to catch up. And this year I was like, I can't do that again. I watch them when I get to watch. Watch them. It's still a pretty decent number as far as I'm concerned. But it's not going to be what it was last year. And it's amazing because I look at, guys like yourself and Turner fan, I know is another one. Vinicio, he's another one. You guys have already watched over 100 movies, and we're in March. I'm like, how good?
Yeah, I think on my letterbox, I'm like at 60 so far this year. And and you know what? It's okay. So like I was going to do an Academy Award video, right? And I'm like, I'm going to just find what's on streaming that I can just, digest and get into. And I watched 3 of the films in one day. and they were like 2.5 hours long, maybe 4 actually. Now that I think about it, and I was like, okay, one, I'm not going to do the video now because there's 10 movies that there's no way, there's just no way, because I gave myself like 2 days to do it, like a
2 days.
lunatic.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but they were all good in their own way. Like I was interested to see who was going to win, and it was who I thought it was with Everything Everywhere. But I was surprised that some of the other movies didn't get picked. Like they just what I can't think of the word. Like, yeah, that word's gone in and out that quick. I was just surprised that some didn't get picked.
As far as nominations, or just didn't win?
Yeah, they just didn't win.
Okay. It's like that every year.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Tim. It's like that every year. There's movies that that win, and we all kind of scratch our heads, and then there's movies that didn't even get nommed. We're all like, I mean, that should have been up for this, that, and the other. And it's like that every year. It's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, and this is the first year I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna watch the awards. I totally didn't ended up watching movies that night. So, but I was really, I can't remember who won for best cinematography.
I don't remember. Okay. I didn't watch much myself, and it's weird because in my house I'm by far the biggest movie buff, and the who wins the Academy Awards, but my wife, she loves award shows. So she was watching a lot more closely than I was. I was kind of doing some other things, and I think I might have had a movie on that night too. But I was doing a lot, and she's like, "Hey, this one and that one." I was like, "Oh, okay, I figured that."
You're like, "Cool,
cool."
Right? Did you? If we could just, I don't know, just talk about these for a minute. Did you watch any of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture?
Yeah, I've seen some. I haven't seen them all, but I've seen a number of them. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It was six, maybe 7. I'm not sure.
Man. Whew, nice.
But I wasn't trying to cram them into a couple days.
Right. Not all of my ideas are a genius level here. Did you happen to see All Quiet on the Western Front?
I haven't yet, and that one I want to see it. I'm gonna see it. It's just, as a matter of fact, I'll be out of work next week. I'll be off work. So I'm gonna watch it next week, but prior to that, every time I go to Netflix or something like that, I pull it up, and then I see that runtime. It's like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do that right now.
It's a long one, and that was the thing when I watched the 4 movies, they were all like 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I'm like, why am I torturing myself here? But it was a good time. It was a good time. It's an excellent film. I love the original, the very 1929 or 32 or something like that.
The silent one,
Yeah, and I love that one. And I thought they did a pretty bang up job with the new one. So
that's what I hear. So I'm looking forward to watching it
awesome,
in a few days.
No spoilers, Chad. Okay, no spoilers on that one. All right. Yeah, nice. All right, cool, man. Well, that's all I have, man.
Okay. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So we can all have a nice evening. Maybe watch a movie or two afterwards, right?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'll probably be checking out some of those other streams while I'm doing some things. So.
Yeah. I was gonna hop over to someone else's stream as well, so I'll probably see you in there.
Probably see you there.
Right. All right. Well, I'd like to thank everyone in the chat for coming by, commenting. Darvin, Tim's Talkies. Tim's saying something. Let me just get it up here real quick. Modern runtimes drive me nuts. It's all good with long run times when it's justified, but goodness, almost everything these days is 2 hours more. Agreed.
So I agree with that. And I'm going to tell you what we talked a lot about, or not a lot, but I mentioned superhero movies. I think for action movies and comedy movies, for me, is where it hurts the most, because they're just padding out runtime. They're not really telling the story properly. So, like, for instance, even Avengers Endgame was 3 hours. There was no reason for that movie to be 3 hours. It 2 hours tops. Same thing with Avatar: The Way of Water. It was over 3 hours, and I sat and I went to the theater. It was 3 hours and 12 minutes, I think. Oh and so I went to the theater to see it, and I'm like, this could have been an hour 45. It really could have. It's just, they took so much time because they wanted to show the budget off.
Well, yeah.
But everything they threw up on the screen, it had very little to do with moving the story forward in a way that really mattered. It was just stuff.
Yeah, right. Do you have a runtime sweet spot?
No, I don't think so. I think for me, like Tim was saying, the runtime or the story has to justify the runtime.
Right.
If the story you're telling needs 3 hours to be told, then take 3 hours to tell the story. But if it needs an hour 45 to 2 hours to be told, or 90 minutes to be told, don't try to feed me 2.5 hours
right.
of it.
Right. Yeah.
And Roger Ebert is my favorite movie critic of all time. And one of the quotes he said, no good movie is ever too long, and no bad movie is ever short enough.
That's funny. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like when you watch a bunch of movies from the 80s, for the most part, it's an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
That was like standard. And then all of a sudden, I think, like, for me, it seemed like Lord of the Rings hit, right? And then it was like, we're in the theater all day. Like, get a sleeping bag, like pitch a tent,
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I don't mind. I when I saw them, I love the films. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
But they're long. It's like,
they are definitely long.
Gotta steal up to it, so to speak. All right, cool, man. Thanks for being here, Dell. I really do appreciate it.
Oh,
this
man,
was fun.
This was fun, and thank you for asking me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's hard getting. Sorry, I cut you off there.
And I don't know if you caught any of that.
I didn't. I'm sorry. The screen closed. I apologize.
It made me feel like a star when somebody asks to interview you.
Right? Like, and it's hard. Like, okay, here's the thing, right? And this for the other blue tubers, right? Because I'd like to get more people on here. Put an email address somewhere in your YouTube channel so I can get a hold of you, so I'm not texting you on your chat while you're talking to other people. Because it's a little, that's a little much, I think. I mean, I've done it, but
I'm guilty because I don't, honestly, like I told you, I don't check my email that often. That's my personal one. I just don't check it that often. My one for work, I've got to check all the time. So that's what
so you're like, you want to keep, like, no more email.
Yeah. So, for me, it's like, just DM me on whatever social media you're on. Well, it's Twitter or Instagram, and I'm more likely to see it there.
Okay.
Put it that way.
Yeah, because like trying to get a hold of people is a little tough. Celeste was really sweet, just reached out and was just like, yeah, have me on. It was great. That was a fun time.
Yeah, it was a good one.
So hopefully I can get Mel in here next month.
Okay.
So I've been dipping the toe in the
That's
water.
always a fun conversation. Anytime she's involved in anything, it's fun conversation.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen her on a couple of the live streams, like those mega 9 people live streams, which is that's too chaotic. One-on-one, I feel is a little bit better.
Right. And that's, at some point I'm gonna try to get her for a movie swap also. So
nice. Yeah, so I mean, and we watch movies, we have lives. I get it 100%.
Yeah.
So all right, man. I think Tim says fun chat for the stuff I caught. Tim, hit that replay, man. Check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna let you get to what you're doing, and I'm gonna bounce out of here. I appreciate everyone in the chat, and Dale, again, thank you so much, man.
All right, no problem, man.
All right, everybody, take care.
All right,
see ya.
Bye.